Okay, welcome back. We are still in 11A. We're on video number 2, and we are working on the formulas that we'll be using when we get into the graphs of the coordinate proofs. Okay, so we're up to question number 4, and question number 4 is, what is the coordinate of the point that's directly in the middle of 812 and 6, -3. The other way they might say it, what is the point on the line that would be the bisector of this point, or where the bisector would go through the line? So when you bisect a line, you go through the middle. So what is the midpoint? Okay, so we're going to always start with a formula. And our formula is the midpoint. We're going to add the x's, divide by 2, add the y's, divide by 2, and I'm going to put it in parentheses because this is going to be a coordinate. Okay, so now we're going to have our midpoint, and our x and y values are here. xy1, xy2, doesn't matter which is 1, which is 2. Okay, so I'm going to have 8 plus 6 over 2, and I'm going to have 12 plus -3 over 2. Okay, so 8 plus 6 is 14. 14 divided by 2 is 7. 12 plus -3 is 9 over 2. So you can leave it as 9 over 2. If you were going to graph it, you would want to see it as 7, 4.5, or 4.5. But just leaving it 7, 9 over 2 would be totally acceptable. Okay. Let's keep moving. What is the slope of the line that passes through 2 points? So here's my xy1 and my xy2. Again, we always start with our formula. So this is a lowercase, sort of a scripted m, and that is the m value in the y equals mx plus b. So the slope is only the m, it's not the mx. So you're never going to have a 2x slope. You'll have a 2 for the slope, or a 1/2 for the slope. So we're going to find that value of the m. And my formula says I'm going to subtract my y's and then subtract my x's. The order, okay, the order, if I'm starting with y2, I have to start with x2, all right? So whichever I've identified as the 2, the order does matter when we're subtracting, okay? So my y2 is 6 minus 2, and then my x2 is -3 minus 5. So I have 6 minus 2, which is a +4, -3 minus 5, which is a -8. So -1/2 would be my slope, and that would be the answer, okay? Don't do a decimal, because remember, we're going to be graphing, and what this means is we're going to have a rise and a run. The negative says my line is going to be going down, so I'm going to go down 1 over 2, and then it would be a negative or a downward sloping line. That's how we're going to use this rise over run. How far apart? That's my distance. And again, this is a version of the Pythagorean theorem. And when we get to the graphing, you might use Pythagorean theorem instead of this, but for now we're going to use the formula. So we have the difference in the x's squared. Whoops. And we're going to add it to the difference in the y's squared. And we're going to have an xy with 1 and an xy with 2. And this one we're going to keep the order, although it won't matter because when we square it, we'll always get rid of our negatives, all right? Okay, I'm going to always put your square root bar in. We have the square root, so we'll x is 1 and 2, y is 1 and 2, okay? So my x's would be -3 minus 11 squared, and my y's are 6 minus 7 squared. Okay. So we're going to have -14. Remember, when you put it in your calculator, you want to keep the negative and the 14 together and then square it because you want to be sure that you get a positive. Plus 6 minus 7 is -1. The same thing here. We want to get a negative. So -14 squared is going to give us 196. 1 squared, or -1 squared, is 1. So that our final answer is going to be radical 197. And we're going to leave it. We're not going to look to see if we can simplify it. Okay? All right. A line connecting the points has a slope of what? The line connecting the points. So the slope. So again, slope my xy, I'll make this one 2 and this one 1. Okay, so my y's are -8 minus -5, and my x's are 7 minus 1. Okay, so this becomes -3 over 6, -1/2. Okay. So do the next few, and I will do them for you also, and that will be on video 3. Have a great day.